Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time not marked by clocks, but by the soul's awakening when the veil thins between what we are and what we were meant to become. That time is now, and in this hour, I declare this truth: the journey begins within. It is tempting, almost instinctive, to look outward for meaning, to scan the horizon for signs, for teachers, for saviors. We chase the noise, we worship the storm, we measure our worth by mirrors held in the hands of others. But all the while, a quieter truth waits behind our ribcage, the place where no one else can go, the place where your true story began. To lead anything to rise, to transform, to command destiny, you must first enter the sacred terrain of your own soul. This is not a metaphor, this is the first rite of passage. Until you have faced the winds that howl inside you, you are but a leaf in the current, not the current itself. What waits inside is not always beautiful. There are forgotten memories, there unhealed wounds, abandoned dreams, and strange voices that do not speak in language, but in feelings. You will find the frightened child who was never heard, the version of yourself who was punished for being too wild, too sensitive, too free. You will find your rage, you will find your fire, and if you stay long enough, you will find your crown. This inner territory is vast. It is layered like an ancient city, buried under centuries of silence. Each layer you uncover may ache, but within each ache lies a revelation. The ego resists this excavation. It wants comfort, predictability, applause, but the soul does not seek comfort, it seeks truth. And the truth is rarely found in the well-lit places. When you finally sit in stillness and ask yourself, who am I beneath what I perform, beneath what I've inherited, obeyed, or feared, you will feel the first trembling of real power. A deeper current stirs. You are not your name, you are not your role, you are not even your story. You are the watcher behind the story, the one who remembers before remembering began. This is why you must turn inward. Not to escape the world, but to reclaim your authority over it. For the world you see is shaped by the eyes through which you view it. Change your vision, and the world reforms around you. The leader of the end is not someone who shouts commands into the chaos, but someone who has faced the chaos within and emerged with the kind of silence that bends time, the kind of knowing that cannot be taught, only earned. You do not need more answers. You need the courage to ask the real questions. You do not need more opinions. You need the capacity to be alone with your truth. In that aloneness, not of loneliness, but of luminous solitude, you will meet the one you've been waiting for. Yourself unmasked, unnamed, unshaken. Only then will you be ready. Only then can you lead anything, not because you sought control, but because you finally learned how to follow the compass of your own soul. The journey begins within, and once begun, the world around you will never look the same again. There is a part of you that you've spent your whole life trying not to see. It hides in your silence, in your quick judgments, in the moments you say, "That's not me." It slips between the cracks of your character in your envy, your rage, your secret pride, your desire to dominate or to disappear. This part does not ask for your approval. It does not care for your politeness or the social masks you wear. It waits not in malice, but in exile. This is your shadow, not evil, not broken, not to be feared, but misunderstood, and dangerously so. You were told to be good. You were trained to show only what is acceptable, what is praised, what is digestible by others. And so, without realizing it, you began to amputate parts of yourself, casting them out of sight, into the unconscious, hoping they would stay buried. But nothing you disown disappears. It waits in the dark, growing stronger, waiting for the moment it will be heard in a burst of anger, in a hidden act, in the mirror of someone you hate. The world you reject in others is often a reflection of what you've not yet accepted in yourself. That is why the shadow is your teacher. It is not the enemy of your progress, it is the missing piece of your power. The things you deny, your ambition, your lust, your chaos, your woundedness, all contain life force. They are raw, untamed, but not inherently destructive. What makes them dangerous is your refusal to see them. What is unconscious controls you without your consent, but what is made conscious becomes choice. To lead, to truly lead, not by position, but by presence, you must reclaim what you've cast away. You must walk into the cave of yourself and face what you fear to find. You may tremble, you may feel shame. You may be tempted to retreat, but if you stay, if you breathe, if you look that shadow in the eye and say, "I see you," something miraculous happens. It softens, it stops screaming, and it offers you its strength. Your anger becomes boundaries, your fear becomes caution, your desire becomes creation, even your darkness becomes clarity, if you bring it into the light of awareness. What once felt like poison becomes medicine, bitter, yes, but necessary. The greatest leaders are not those who have no darkness, but those who have made peace with theirs. They do not pretend to be perfect. They are not ruled by appearances. They have walked through the fire of themselves and emerged carrying the ashes of their former illusions. In their presence you feel truth, because they are no longer hiding. If you continue to reject your shadow, it will lead you from behind through sabotage, projection, or despair. But if you face it, embrace it, integrate it, it will follow you, not as a curse, but as an ally. A protector, a source of fierce authenticity. To become whole is not to be flawless, it is to be honest. It is to hold both light and dark in your hands and say, "This is me, and I will no longer run." Because when you stop running from yourself, no one and nothing can control you. And only then do you truly begin to lead. There are truths too ancient, too vast, too sacred to be carried by ordinary language. Words can describe, but they cannot always reveal. They are sharp tools, but not always soft enough to carry the weight of the soul. When language fails and it will, something else begins to speak, not through sentences but through symbols. Symbols are the language of the deep psyche. They are not inventions of the mind, but spontaneous expressions of the soul. You do not choose them, they choose you. A dream may deliver one, a bird with eyes of fire, a staircase into water, a locked door in a childhood home. You may see them in waking life, a recurring number, a repeated phrase, a stranger who seems to shimmer with familiarity. These are not coincidences, they are messages in disguise. There is a part of you older than memory, wiser than thought, that speaks in this way. It does not argue, it does not explain, it shows. A serpent, a crown, a dying tree, a rising sun. These images pierce deeper than logic. They stir something forgotten not in your mind, but in your being. They awaken what has always been there. The modern world has tried to flatten these images, to reduce them to decoration or superstition. But you are not modern on the inside. Inside you are ancient. Inside you are still connected to the myths, the gods, the archetypes that once shaped entire civilizations and still shape the contours of your personal fate. You may not believe in myths, but your life is one. You are living a story far older than you realize. The warrior, the orphan, the wanderer, the lover, the destroyer, the rebirth, these are not fictional characters. They are patterns in the human soul. You play them out again and again in different forms with different names. And until you recognize them, they will drive your decisions without your awareness. Symbols help you see the invisible. They map what logic cannot touch. When you are lost, a symbol may rise in your dreams to guide you, not with instructions, but with intuition. When you feel stuck, a sudden image, a piece of music, a line in a story may break something open, not because it told you the answer, but because it awakened the part of you that already knew. This is why great change always begins symbolically. Before something transforms on the outside, it is first imagined within. You must see yourself differently before you can live differently. You must dream of freedom before you can move toward it. The symbol is the seed of transformation. Without it, there is no map, only movement in circles. The leader of the end must learn to see symbolically, not as an escape from reality, but as a deeper encounter with it. You must become fluent in the soul's hidden language, because it is through this that your deepest insights will come. You will know when to act, not because someone told you, but because a symbol stirred in you the sense that now is the time. You will know who you are not because a label defined you, but because a recurring image reminded you of the truth. You are not just flesh and thought, you are myth and metaphor, you are a living symbol walking your own legend into existence. Every wound you carry, every dream you chase, every fear you face, they are not just psychological events. They are part of your personal mythology. So look closely. What symbols are speaking to you? What images rise when you are quiet? What dreams refuse to be forgotten? What stories do you return to, again and again? These are not meaningless echoes. They are sacred whispers. Listen, not with your ears but with your inner vision. Because in a world drowning in empty words, those who can read symbols are the ones who still know how to hear the truth. Destruction is often feared as the end, the collapse of what we know, the breaking apart of what we have built, the loss of comfort, security, identity. It feels like a wound, a violent tearing. But destruction is not merely an end. It is a necessary passage, a secret doorway to something new. The universe itself moves through cycles of death and rebirth, of chaos and order, of falling and rising. No flower blooms without first dissolving the seed. No phoenix takes flight without the fire that consumes it. You too are caught in this eternal rhythm, whether you see it or not. When something inside you breaks a relationship, a belief, an identity, do not rush to repair it with the same old tools. Do not seek to patch over the cracks with denial or distraction. Instead, learn to honor the breaking, for in that breaking lies a truth deeper than the surface you once clung to. The structures that fall away are often those that no longer serve your growth. They are the cages built from fear, the stories told to keep you small, the masks worn to please others. Their destruction can feel like loss, but it is liberation. The ruins you see are the fertile ground of transformation. This process is never easy. It is raw, painful, and often lonely. You may feel as if everything you trusted is crumbling beneath your feet, but it is in that very groundlessness that new life begins to root. You are being unmade, not to disappear but to be remade. Creation and destruction are two faces of the same divine act. To create something new, the old must first die. And this death is not something to resist, it is to be embraced as a rite of passage. The soil of your soul must be turned over before the seeds of your true self can sprout. In your own life, notice where you resist change, where you cling to what is comfortable but no longer vital. These are the places begging for destruction, not as punishment, but as invitation. What must you let go of? What illusions must burn away for you to step fully into your power? The leader of the end does not fear destruction, because they understand that it is the crucible of creation. They do not seek to preserve the old order at all costs, but to be reborn from its ashes. They know that every collapse, every ending, is also a beginning in disguise. If you hold tightly to what must fall, you will only break yourself. But if you open your hands, if you surrender to the process, you become the alchemist of your own life. You turn pain into wisdom, loss into vision, chaos into harmony. So when you face endings, whether in your career, your relationships, your beliefs, or your identity, do not despair. See them as sacred fires, burning away the false so the true can emerge. You are both the destroyer and the creator, the one who lets go and the one who builds anew. This is the paradox of transformation. You must lose yourself to find yourself. You must destroy to create, and in this dance, you become the artist of your own destiny. Destiny is not a gift handed down from above, nor is it a script already written by unseen forces beyond your control. It is not something that falls into your lap by chance or by fate alone. Destiny is something you must claim with your own hands, with your own courage, with your own will. Too many walk through life as if following a path paved by others, as if they were passengers rather than drivers of their own journey. They wait for permission, for signs, for validation from outside, afraid to take the first step or the next because it feels too uncertain, too heavy with consequence. But the truth is, the map of your life is drawn in the ink of your choices. It is shaped by the small acts of courage you refuse to ignore, by the moments when you say yes to yourself, even when the world says no. Destiny is not a prize for the lucky or the favored. It is the inheritance of those who dare to rise from the depths of their own doubts and claim their place in the world. You were not born to be a shadow of someone else's dreams or expectations. You were born with a spark, a unique constellation of talents, fears, desires, and wounds. And within that constellation lies your true purpose. It waits not for convenience, but for confrontation. It waits for the moment you decide that you will no longer be shaped by circumstances, but that you will shape them. To claim destiny, you must first awaken the leader within the one who sees beyond the horizon of fear and doubt. This leader does not wait for certainty or perfect conditions, it acts in spite of them. It steps forward with trembling hands and an unshakable heart. Claiming your destiny means embracing responsibility for your life not as a burden but as liberation. It means understanding that you are the author of your story, the sculptor of your future. No one else can live it for you, no one else can fight your battles or sing your song. But claiming destiny is also a journey through the unknown. You will encounter resistance from within and without. Old voices will tell you are not enough, not ready, not worthy. The weight of past failures and future fears will press heavy on your shoulders. But the leader of the end knows that these shadows are not walls, they are tests. They are invitations to deeper strength, deeper clarity, deeper faith in oneself. There is no formula, no shortcut. Destiny unfolds in moments of radical choice when you say yes to what calls you, even if you don't know where it leads. When you step into the fire of uncertainty with your eyes open, willing to be forged anew. And here is the greatest secret. The claiming of destiny is not a solo act. When you rise to claim your truth, you awaken others to claim theirs. You become a beacon, a mirror, a call to those still wandering in darkness. In this way, destiny is communal, a dance of many souls awakening together. So ask yourself, not what destiny is given to you, but what destiny you are willing to seize. What vision will you fight for? What truth will you live, even if it means walking alone? What legacy will you claim beyond the end of your own story? The leader of the end does not wait for fate. The leader becomes fate. And in becoming fate, you become more than mortal, you become a force of transformation, a harbinger of new beginnings. Your destiny is waiting. It is not given, it is claimed.